Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, all panelists and participants of Icollite 7. Thank you for the given opportunities for us. Today, we would like to present our manuscript entitled The Indonesian Identity in Pego dan Putri Kayangan Folklore. Our team consists of 5 persons: Riani, Setiyanto, Erlinda, Ismi, Dian, Susilastri, and Syarifah, Lubna. Okay, my friend Riani will continue the presentation. Please, Mbak Riani.
Thank you, Miss Erlinda.
Thank you.
The introduction. According to Republic Indonesian Law number 3 of 2022, East Kalimantan will be the location of the capital city. It is not impossible for the growth of IKN to eliminate the community from the attempts to conserve the indigenous tribal wisdom values of the potentially endangered IKN population and reinforce the Indonesian identity that supports the development of IKN in national and state life. IKN is a new home that accommodates and defends the diversity of many ethnicities from across Indonesia. As a result, a character that supports the ideals of Indonesian identity as indicated in the 18 characters specified by the Ministry of National Education in 2011. The research aims to describe the story of Indonesian identity, characters, values. The Pego dan Putri Kayangan folktales comes from the Penajam Pasar tribe as indigenous clan that lives in part of the national capital. The Pasar tribe has been an indigenous group in the Penajam Pasar region for millennia. Literature review. The identity of Indonesian nation. Indonesian identity is embodied in the concept that a nation and a state consisting of various diversity and differences can unite because it is based on Pancasila as the basis of the state and national ideology and is framed through unity in diversity. Character education is a system that instills a person's character's values that include knowledge, awareness, will, an action for him to carry out these values towards God Almighty himself, other people, his environment, and his nation and country. The Indonesian nation's particular identity is articulated through a set of characters education ideas that include religious, honest, tolerant, and etc. This distinctive identity is derived from the ideals, teaching, and life philosophy of religion, Pancasila, and culture, as well as the national education objectives. Based on Pancasila, Indonesian identity can also be defined as a nation that embodies the culture, the values, culture, history, and features of distinctive character inherent in Indonesian nations. Panjic discourse analysis theory, text, social cognition, and social context are the 3 components of this discourse analysis. This research is entirely concerned with textual analysis. There are 3 types of text structures: macrostructure, superstructure, and macrostructure. The text introduction, expansion, and conclusions are referred as to the macrostructure. The study examines the macrostructure, superstructure, and microstructure of Indonesian identity, reflecting characters' values. The method. This study is qualitative descriptive since it tries to investigate the characters' values inherent in the folklore Pego dan Putri Kayangan. Pego and Putri Kayangan is part of a collection of pasar and battle folklore published by the Language Institution of East Kalimantan or Kantor Bahasa Kalimantan Timur. The data for this study are extracted from the text Pego dan Putri Kayangan. Characters' values in the folklore could be deduced from the story main topic, which was an example of the macrostructure. The section of how conflict were resolved was an example of superstructure. Individual words, phrases, and paragraphs were examples of the macrostructure. The classification of character structure in the macrostructure, superstructure, and macrostructure is related to 18 character education values that reflect Indonesian identity in national and state life. These values might be found in the macro, superstructure, and microstructure. For the next presentations, Ms. Lubna will carry on.
Thank you, Mbak Riani, for finding and results. Finding and discussion. First part is synopsis. The synopsis story is about Pego. Pego is a young orphan who wanted to have his own rice field. For 3 days, Pego succeeded in clearing land for farming. But after that, the land that Pego had cleared become forest again. From his hut at night, Pego saw 7 birds cycling and then perched on a tree branch while singing. Not long after, the birds were gone. Instantly, Pego's planning and land turned into the forest. In the morning, Pego returned to clearing his land again while making snares on the wooden trees where the 7 naughty birds stopped. In the morning, Pego saw a bird caught in his trap. It turns out that the beautiful feather birds is the incarnation of a princess from heaven. After some time, when the bird turned into a beautiful girl, they married and had a son. Between Pego and his wife, they promised to keep the origins of the princess from heaven a secret. Although in the end, the promise was forbidden by Pego, Pego's wife turned into a bird and flew to heaven. He left Pego in sorrow and regret for breaking their promise. With a deep feeling of sadness, then Pego took his son to look for his wife to heaven. On his way, Pego have a thirsty rat, fish, and an ant, and also firefly. As a thank you to Pego, rats, fish, and fireflies then give him incense. The incense can be burned if Pego needs their help. The bride path to heavens has arrived. Pego saw and helped a Garuda birds whose leg was entangled in a wooden root. As a thank you, the Garuda would took Pego and his son to fly to heaven. In heaven, then, Pego met an old man who helped him face the king of heaven. And it turned out that the king was the father of Putri Kayangan. To get Putri Kayangan back as his wife, Pego had to face many tough tests from the king. Thanks to the help of rats, fish, ants, and fireflies, Pego then succeeded and was allowed to bring Putri Kayangan back to his hometown. That's the synopsis. And the analysis then, next slide. We find independent character. The example, however, feeling unable to prepare everything together, Pego started on his own in page 73. And character, hardworking, found, for example, in page 73, by working hard alone, Pego pioneered land for farming. The social care and responsibility character also found in this story. For example of social care in page 68. Behind the hole drillers were women and youths. They put the grains of rice into the hole. And then, help me, I'm so thirsty. Hearing the rat's request, Pego immediately handed over the water he was carrying on page 80 to 81. The next character is found from the next slide. For example, responsible character in page 86. For the sake of my children and wife, I accept the king's task. And then friendly and communicative character. For example, in page 72, I don't know, guys. I don't have the courage to decide when to get married. You don't say that, Pego. A match cannot be determined. Pego's friend teased them, so they laugh. And creative character, for example, in page 75. Oh, apparently it was you guys who caused my pet to become a forest bat. Watch out, you unlucky birds. Tomorrow I'll make you a snare. And motherland character, for example, we found it page 91. I want to go back to my hamlet with my wife and children. I want to build a harmonious and peaceful household. And the next slide is our conclusion. The findings and the analysis show that the Pego and Putri Kayangan folklore contains Indonesian identity. Why? It's because contains independence, hard work, social care, and responsible, friendly, and communicative, and love of the motherland. This narrative can be utilized in character education because it possesses futurist elements that encourage independence, hard work, social care and responsibility, friendly and communicative, also love of the motherland. Thank you for the opportunities that given us. We welcome your insights, comments after our presentation. Thank you all and bye.
Waalaikumsalam.